so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, more juicy. Coming up. Yeah. Come on up now. Come on, can't stop me. Come on, you coming up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the House of Peach. We are back. It is Tuesday. Everybody was off yesterday for Labor Day, so today is our day for you to come and join us and have a good time. I need you to share this out. Share, let everybody know that we are on. We are ready. We have this is September. OMG. So we have some phenomenal women for this month. And I have been waiting for this month personally myself and for our guests that we have today. But let's back up a little before I get ahead of myself. Hi, Morgan. I can't hear you. No, ma'am. I can read lips, but I can't hear you. No laughing. So while Morgan gets her sound together, I hope that you guys, and in her video now too, I hope you guys had a amazing week last week. Seems like we were just on yesterday, but we weren't. It was a week ago. So hopefully everyone has had a good weekend. You had a good holiday, maybe got a little rest in. I know that I did. We are on here at the House of Peach. We come to encourage you, inspire you, motivate you, and we are highlighting some of the top female entrepreneurs in the U.S. Morgan.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
So, how are you, dear?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I can't complain other than my vision being completely blurry, and it's been like that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I did, but that's okay. We'll get it together. I can see enough to know what's going on. So, hi, Corey. Hi, Jackie. I'm looking on my phone. Do you have your phone set up?
Oh, okay. Is that what I was like, wait a minute. How
Have
you
to
saying
do
hi
this.
to these people?
Obviously, it's not transferring over to Restream like it used to. I don't know what it is.
That's what I was being told as well.
Hi, Jason. I can see. So I have my phone like right here, so I can see all of that there. So I don't know why it's not coming up here. Restream doesn't want us to be great, but we're going to be great anyway. So if you have not subscribed to the House of Peach, there will be a QR code that comes up. We want you to scan that. Why? Because when you scan that, it's going to connect you with us. So you will know when we're live. You will know about events that are coming up, and you'll be able to share House of Peach out with other women, female entrepreneurs that have not been guests on the show. We want them. We want to interview them. We want to highlight what they're doing. We want to let everyone know this is where connections are made. And since Morgan and I have been hosting this show together since January of this year, there have been a lot of connections made, a lot of information given. We've learned a lot ourselves. And we hope that you have enjoyed us together. And it's so crazy because she and I have not physically met yet.
No, we have like 5 weeks left.
You're counting down, I see.
Yes.
And your video is so delayed. Like I hear you, and then 2 seconds, a minute later, your mouth starts to move. You know what? We're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. It's going to work out. So scan. There's a QR code. Okay, it's gone now. But y'all should have scanned that QR code by now. And we have some great women that are going to be coming up in the month of September. They're going to come. They're going to share about their businesses, their organizations, what they're doing in their community, in their hometown. We're going to learn a little bit about who they are. Yeah, all that good stuff. So, Morgan, you have anything you want to share? All delayed?
No. No, I'm just excited to be here and cannot wait to meet our guests
Yes.
What is going on?
Thank you, Corey. Corey says, I pray a covering over your vision, April, and complete healing. Father, fix it in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Because sometimes I go through these things where a certain time of the day my vision gets blurred, and the only thing that fixes it is if I lay down and take a nap, and when it's like everything resets. And when I wake up, it's clear. But I didn't take a nap today because I'm not sleepy. So I even told the eye doctor about that last year, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know what that is." Like, "Oh, okay, all right." But if you squint, everything is clear. But when I have my eyes open like this, that's when it's blurry. It's so weird. It's just weird. Hey, Nicole. Nicole's gonna be on in a couple of weeks. So yeah, but anyway, I'm not worried about that. Healed, whole, complete. I'm good. I'm good.
Yes.
So our guest on today, I don't want to waste any more time. Oh, before we do that, so the last Tuesday in this month, I don't know what the date is. How is our He Said She Said, and last week was our He Said She Said, right?
Yep.
And that was amazing. How will you handle all my extra? That was good. So we had a lot of conversation. We had a lot of comments come in about that. So Morgan and I are going to give another great topic. We want men and women on the panel. So this is the time. So we have one Tuesday per month. And it's the last Tuesday that we have the He Said, She Said panel, where it's a topic relating to men and women, and we want to hear from both sides. There's no judgment. We just want people to come on. So if you are interested in doing that, please hit us up and let us know. And when it's time, we will send you the link. You'll have the topic and you'll be able to come on. You can stay on the entire time. You can bounce in and out, all of that. Charla says optical migraines. I need to look into that. I'll check that
Those
out.
really suck. So
Interesting.
I hope that's. I don't think that that's that, but
See, we'll see what happens. I'm willing to have all of it tested out to find out, because I don't want to have to squint just for everything to be, focused and clear. It just doesn't make sense.
Might be good time for a new prescription. When was the last time you went in for that?
Don't ask me all those questions.
There you go.
Why are you in my business? This was happening before. This was happening before, so I don't know.
Before your last prescription? Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna make this about me and my eye issues, because I can still see, because I drove to pick Ariel up and he came back and everything was cool. So
good. Okay.
So yes, and if you know female entrepreneurs that we haven't had, we want to have them on. Please hit us up in our inbox or email us and let us know so that we can get them on the schedule. We stay booked. We stay booked up, which is a great thing. So then it's a lot less work for us. It's just to coordinate the schedules. So we have amazing, phenomenal woman on today. Her name is Dr. Erica McCray, and I don't believe I have met her in person. Hey, Tasha, she's on YouTube. That's how that came through. I don't believe I have met her in person. However, she's married to her husband's family, and my family all were in the same church circle. So they went to events together. They know each other. I think they went to school together. So they know each other, and that's how I know him. And he then married Erica, and boom, here we are. So one day I got to meet her, because she is somebody, and she just started a new business, and it has taken off. And she comes on live. Her and her husband do it's a couple's marriage live that they do together. Now, I haven't seen it in a while, but I'll let her talk about all of that. But they come on and I've watched it, and they have some real topics that they discuss about marriage and relationships and ministry and stuff. It's great. It's great. She's doing some awesome things and has a great following. And I want to meet her, definitely. So she doesn't live. They live somewhere. Okay, she'll tell us where. I can't remember right now, but we want to bring Dr. Erica McCray on so we can get all into her business.
Hello, hello.
Hey, hi ladies. How are y'all?
Good
Doing well. How are
morning.
you?
I'm doing good. Let me make sure my little hair is where it needs to be.
You look great. You look great. So, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. You are busy, a busy woman, to be on today. She's a wife, she's a mom. She bless your heart with all boys. Ooh, I pray
All
for you.
boys, all boys. Thank you
Mm,
so
mm,
much. I need
mm.
all the prayers I can get.
Yes.
So we what we want to do today is we want to talk about first we want you to just kind of give us a little background on you. And then we want to talk about the things that you've done. You and your husband both have recently received your doctorate, which was congratulations on that. I know it's been a little bit of time, but congratulations on that.
Thank
If you go
you.
on their page, you will see the professional photo shoot that they did in their, and I don't, the doctorate attire when they had that conferred upon them. Oh my God, it is amazing. It's just amazing power couple. And so
Thank
that's there.
you.
That's great. And we want you open a business. We want to talk about that. So we just want to get all in your stuff here to find out what you have going on.
Awesome, awesome. So yes, we I actually got my doctorate in 2019. He got his, I want to say, was it 2020? I think it was 2020 when he got his. So he was behind me, a year behind me. But yeah, so that was an amazing moment for us. I am two classes away from getting two more masters. Y'all pray for me because we started school
Oh,
today and I'm burned out. I've been in school almost my entire life. I'm done. So I'm at Columbia Theological Seminary now getting a Master's of Divinity and a Master's of Arts and Practical Theology. So y'all just pray my strength. I
oh,
literally have two more classes and I will be done and I cannot wait. I am struggling, but to God be the glory. So what are we doing right now? I recently gave my testimony about a couple of months ago. It was like the end of July that God is getting ready to transition me. So we did open a business August of last year. However, when you first open a business, you just can't jump in and, not have something to support and sustain your home. So I was still and am still currently working for AT&T / Cricket Wireless. But at the end of July, I did get a notification from my AVP that I would no longer have a position as of the middle of September, end of September. So I'm
mm,
getting ready to transition from AT&T, which has truly been a blessing in disguise. It was God not pushing me, but kicking me out of the nest and telling me that this is what He wants me to do full time. I gave my testimony on social media that not only do they have to pay my salary for 6 months, so I'll still
mm.
have salary up until March. I will be getting my medical insurance for almost a whole year. I normally get a bonus in March. They're going to give me a prorated bonus. So God is just so awesome. So He's
Wow.
literally cleared my plate for the next 6 months for me to focus fully into this business. And my prayer is that we just grow so much that I can then take a salary from the business. So that's what I am currently focused on. And when I tell you, He's so intentional because there has been so many things going on in this business. And what I ended up doing, I found out the Friday before my vacation. So I went on vacation for a week, and when I came back, I had so much other vacation lined up that I'm working from home 2 days just to kind of transition things out, and the other 3 days, Tuesday through Thursday, I'm able to work. I'm on vacation, so I'm able to work fully into the business. So He's so intentional. Sometimes we don't understand what He's doing or why He does it the way He does it. But then when you sit back and you think about this stuff, you're like, gosh, like I really could not have put that together any better.
Mhm.
Like you are amazing. So
Yeah.
that's where we are right now.
Wow.
Full fledged entrepreneur. Like, and I knew I wanted to own a business, but I don't know. I kind of like that, that steady corporate America check.
Yeah.
But God, but God
Yeah.
He's letting me know in this season that that's not what and I felt transition. I felt
Mm,
transition for a long time, but He's truly letting me know that's not what I have for you, daughter. So let me show you
mm.
what I have for you. And
Wow.
I'm walking fully in it.
Wow. God has a very keen, strategic way of getting us in the position He wants us to be in when we act like
Absolutely.
we don't see it or we don't
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
And then He takes us out of our comfort zone, which is where we like to stay because that's our cushion. And He
Yep.
says, no, I'm going to take you out of your comfort zone so you can rely solely on me and what I have,
Mhm.
because you don't see it yet, but I'm trying to take you somewhere, but you act like
Listen.
you're not trying to go. So let me just stop it here. But He said, I'm not going to just stop you from working and not make sure you have provision. Like, who does that?
That
Who
that
has
part.
6 months worth of income?
6 months. Like, He has blown my mind. I'm
Yeah.
like, so you really was serious. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
really wanted me to just get out of this nest and fly.
Wow.
So it's been amazing. I remember when He first told me, I just kind of sat here and I was like, "Whew, okay, God," because I also that same day God had me to walk out that word. I had to go preach at my home church, and the scripture was, "Do not fear, do not be afraid. I'm your God. I will uphold you. I will strengthen you. I will hold you with my righteous right hand." And I remember preparing for that. I started on a Monday, finished it on a Wednesday. 2 days later is when I got the notification on the day that I was supposed to preach. So He had me to literally walk that word out the
Wow.
morning before. It was just, God is so intentional. And I remember sitting here and I was like, wow, so you're really gonna have me walk this out. And I went in the room and I was telling my husband, and my eyes started tearing up, not from sadness. It was just kind of like a burden lifted off of me and
Mm,
let's do this. Like, here we are. That's all I have. My faith is all I have. So let's go. Let's do this. And
yeah.
here we are.
Oh my goodness. How do you balance everything that you have going on? Because your
Oh,
husband's very
Jesus.
busy. Those boys are
Always.
very active.
Yes, yes.
And
Prayer, 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 and literally a to-do list every single day. I have so much that I do. And there's days where I get very overwhelmed. It's few
mhm,
and far between where I get those days where I'm just like, hey, Brandon, today is one of those days. I need to decompress. But it's definitely a balancing act. I can't tell people how I do it other than just prayer
mhm,
and a to-do list, because it's so much. And I am trying to take things off of my plate. Like, I can't wait to get finished with school because that's something I don't have to worry about. I was on a lot of e-boards, so I tried to take a step back and do some of those things that are extracurricular,
mhm,
because I do have so much going on. And then, like, my oldest son, of course, just went to high school, so
mhm.
he's going to have a lot of extracurricular things. So it's definitely a juggling act. Brandon is always gone because that's what he does. He's a musician, so he's always somewhere. He's somewhere right now. My kids are in there with my oldest while I'm doing the podcast. So it's a weekly, just looking at the calendars, figuring out what works. And we know that just we're in a transition right now, so we have to
Mhm.
just breathe through it. We understand that we can't spend as much time as we want to with each other because we're doing all of these different things to provide for the family. But it's literally a day. My daily routine is getting up in the morning, reading my Bible, praying, going to the gym, and starting my day.
Mm,
So that's kind of my way of centering myself and being like, okay, because all you can do is take it one day at a time. You can't
yeah,
you can worry about tomorrow. I mean, but it's just, what is it going to do? You just
right.
got to get into it and just start. What I can't finish in one day, I'll roll it over to the other day.
Yeah. Having that balance and being able to understand that every day is not going to go like you plan it to go. And that's one of
Yes.
the areas where I have issues. Like, if I plan my day out, this is what I want to do at this time, this time, this time, and then something comes to derail that, I get a little annoyed. So then I have to realize, okay, now I'm just going to have to readjust. And
Yeah.
I've gotten better with that, because in the beginning it was like, oh, I need to get this done today. But I know it's not going to always work that way. And you just kind of roll with it and let it happen and just do
Yeah.
what you can. And because I would feel like if I didn't get everything on that list for that day completed, then I haven't accomplished anything. But when I really look back on what I've done, I've accomplished more than I thought.
Exactly. And what I do is one of my best practices, because I was the same way. But now when I do my to-do list, I love an iPhone that you can strike through what you've done. And I look
Mm,
at my list and I'm like, oh, I did 7 out of the 8 things that I was supposed to do. So that for me, I'm like, I feel accomplished. I'll roll this other thing until into the next day. And I look
right.
at it as, although I do have things on my list for that day, when does it actually need to be completed? Can
Mm,
it be completed by Friday? So if
right.
I've already done 8 out of 9 things on Monday and I just have one thing that I'm rolling over into Tuesday and it's not due until Friday, I'm doing good. So
Yeah.
we just have to change our mindset in some of those things, because if I do get everything done in a day, great. But if I don't, it's okay. And another thing that I really incorporate that helps me just mindset wise, I'm the brunch friend now. Anytime my friends say they want to go to brunch, I will brunch 2 times a week, 2 to 3 if someone's available. That's my way of just being able to have an outlet, hang with my friends, still, do what I need to do for my business, and then go home and be there for my family.
Yeah. Definitely need that outlet. Morgan, you stay busy just as much as Erica does and I do. What do you do?
Just exactly what Erica was saying. I got to a place where my list is really prioritized.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yes, I can have 20 things to do, but it's what is absolutely necessary. And there will be times where I only get 2 out of the 10 things done. And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that that wasn't a successful day, because when I look at the 2 things that I had to do, and even if there were things that end up on my list that weren't on my list, but
Mm-hmm.
because they were more pertinent at the time, then you know what I mean. It's like, okay, fine, reset for tomorrow. Is this something that can be done tomorrow? Yes. Is there some grace that I can get from one client where it's like, I really apologize, I cannot get to you today because of an emergency of something else. Can I be able to meet with you tomorrow? And the fact that people are flexible, they're understanding. I have to be flexible with myself, because at the end of the day, when it comes, my kids are number one. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so it's like trying to be able to find that balance is necessary. But yeah, it's prioritizing and lists. And it wasn't until I started actually writing things down,
Mm-hmm.
putting things on a calendar, and then being able to prioritize and then just say, okay, you know what? Yes, I got these 7 out of 10 things done, or nope, I only got 2 out of these 10
Right.
done. But they were 2 of the biggest things. And so now that kind of makes tomorrow a little less hectic, then that's totally fine. But yeah, it's really just that balance.
Yeah. I find that doing the list and referring back to the list and checking that off, I become more I don't forget things like that I need to do because it's written down. So as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about all the things that I plan to do today, but I didn't write them down. So it's like, so now that's a little gut check for me. I'm gonna have to get my calendar out and get that on paper so I can do it
I
tomorrow.
also am learning that I don't want to be stuck to a specific schedule.
Mhm.
I as I like to talk about my kids, I like the free range life. I
Mhm.
like to be able to just kind of come and go and do things as I'd like to. So right now I'm being a little bit more rigid than I normally would, so that I can afford to be able to be that, come the next 6 months or so. So
Right.
yeah, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like you said, I would love to get back to a place where I could brunch. I was doing that when I was working nights, you know what I mean? So I had days where it was like, oh, I don't really have anything to do. Like I could be sleeping, but like I'm not gonna sleep. So that's what I'd be doing. I'd be brunching, I'd be going out with people, and I would be, getting other things done. Now it's like, I want to wake up and I want to be able to, go to the library. I want to decide that, you know what, it's still a 90-degree day. And so I'm going to the beach.
Mm.
I'm still doing stuff at the beach, but for me, this is where I want to be. I don't want to be sitting at home on a couch. I don't want to be sitting at the table. I don't want to be going to, the commissary that I work at. Like, no, I want to be at the beach. And so whatever I can do to be there, then that's what I want to do. If I don't want to get up until 10 o'clock, which is not in my nature at all, but I want that space to be able to do that. So, like we're talking about life with no limits. Yeah, I don't want, those are my limits. I don't want no time limits.
Right. So everybody's saying congratulations on you and your husband obtaining your doctorate. I'm looking on my phone because they're not showing up over here. And then,
Thank
hello,
you.
Christine. It's good to have you on. So the reason why I chose the topic life with no limits, because I've been following you and watching you for, I don't know, maybe a couple of years now, and all of the things that you're doing. Like, you have a doctorate, but now you're getting 2 more masters. So there's no limitation to what you're doing, and you opened a business. So when you hear the topic life with no limits, what does that mean to you personally?
That for me means just being all that God created me to be. Not allowing people to box you into one thing, and then also not allowing people to tell you what God has destined for you. There's been so many different things that people, oh, you're great at this, you should do this, you should do this. But at the end of the day, I want to be everything that God has created me to be, and Him getting the glory in my life is more important than me just meeting the demands and the standards of people. So that's just where I am in life. Me opening this business, I don't have any experience in home care. I don't have any experience in healthcare. Why would I open a franchise business with home care? It was God. When I was going through the process, He said, this is the one. So I'm very intentional in being obedient and trying to be 100% obedient to what God says, despite what others may think. It may not make sense to man, but it makes sense to God. And that's just where I'm going. So that for me is living a life without limits, not having to explain to people why I'm doing what I'm doing, other than the simple fact is God told me to do that, and that's what I'm doing. And that's my life. My life is faith driven, my life is obedience driven, and that's what I do.
Wow. So we are a lot alike and we have never met. Like, that's the season that I'm in. Same thing. And it's so good to get out of what others think you should do, or what others feel that we are gifted. As women alone, we are gifted in so many areas. We could take anything and turn it into a business. We could turn it into something really great, but is that what we're destined to do? That is the key.
Exactly.
And we need to find what we're destined to. If we just listen to everybody, we'll be schizophrenic around here. One minute we're doing this, the next somebody said we need to do that, and the next minute we need to do that, and we're not completing anything. We're not being successful in anything because we're listening to everyone. So we got to
Exactly.
be able to say thank you. I appreciate that you said that, and yes, I'm really good at that. But if my heart isn't in that and my passion isn't for that, then it's not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
So recognizing that. So now let's go on into your business. So you kind of touched on it. So how did that come about?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to own a franchise, but I only vocalized it to my family, like my husband, my in-laws, my mom, my dad. It wasn't something that I just said, out in public. So during the onset of COVID, there was a guy that reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he was a franchise broker, didn't know that they even existed. And he was saying, hey, have you ever been interested in owning a franchise? And I'm like, yeah, but how do you know that? So,
Right.
anyways, I started talking to him. We were talking about just the potential opportunity. I initially did like some sort of profile that let him know what I would be interested in. Then I found out I was pregnant, the whole COVID situation and all of that. And I was like, you know what? Let me just let this take a back seat. I don't even know if I have the money right now to invest or do something like that or figure out loans and all of that stuff. So I just put it on hold. Once I had my 2-year-old, I was just kind of thinking, I'm like, you know what? Because I never thought that I would be the entrepreneur type. Like everybody's like, oh, don't work for, corporate America, work for yourself. And I'm like, I like my check. Like I like the consistency. I'm making six figures. I'm good. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to have to do that. But I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Why not now? Even though we're in a pandemic, why not? Like everything is crazy at the moment. So let's just put some focus and attention into it. So I reached back out to the guy, let him know that I was interested in looking into some of the franchises. I also ended up getting me a coach just to talk me through what it looks like to own a franchise. The first thing, of course, she was like, well, how much money do you have to invest? And I was like, I don't really know. She was like, okay, so that's the first thing that you need to do. You need to go and figure out how much money you're going to be able to invest in a franchise. So I did weighed all of my options, did all of my research as far as, what would be the best method to, get the funds in order to invest in a franchise. So once I figured out how much money I would have to invest, then I went back to the franchise broker. We did another profile. He picked about, I think, maybe 5 franchises that he wanted to show me. But the first one that he showed me was the one that God was like, this is it. So I didn't really even pay attention to the other ones. I allowed him to finish his presentation. But once we got off the phone, because God told me this is the one and you need to hire your mother-in-law. So I immediately called her. I talked to her about everything. She was very excited about the opportunity. So I told her, I said, we'll go through the discovery phase, which is like a 2-month process. And I said, if this is what God is saying is for us, then I'll sign. And that's what happened. That's how we opened the business.
Wow. So explain that discovery phase.
Yes. So when you are going through the process of wanting to invest into a franchise, there's a discovery phase. So you meet with one of their franchise development managers. They walk you through the history of the franchise. They break down, how much it's going to cost, what you're going to need to start up. And they also give you the opportunity to speak to other franchisees within that particular franchise. So you'll talk to them about their day to day, just everything. The people that I spoke with were very open and transparent. I was asking a whole bunch of questions. I know how much it costs for you to invest. When did you break even? How many clients do you have? What did you make your first year? What are you making now? What would you tell me? I asked them a whole bunch of questions because I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision. So once you go through that phase, then the final piece is basically you meeting the executive team and they do an interview with you. And if they say, good, then you pay your money, sign the contract. And then I had to go through 6 months of training before I actually launched the business.
Okay.
Now,
So
is that discovery process specific to the broker that you had?
No, he is basically a broker of a whole bunch of franchises. So he gets a commission for bringing someone to them. If I signed, he got a
Mhm.
commission. So he's just the middleman that they use to go out and to also help recruit. The
Mhm.
discovery phase is with the franchise people themselves. So
Okay.
they walk you through. They gave me their what is it called? It's a franchise. It's called an FDD, but I can't remember what it stands for. But it's
Mhm.
basically like it tells how many franchise owners they have, how much they made. Like it's a very detailed document that's public to everybody.
Mhm.
And I was able to go through that information just to see if this was what I really wanted to do.
I'm
mm,
glad that you were able to get that. My mom bought into a franchise. Mm, I want to say probably about 13 to 15 years ago. And
Hmm.
had she had that discovery portion of it before jumping in, it probably would have gone a little differently.
Mm.
Because she didn't get all of the pertinent information that was necessary. No one really explained to her that although she was buying into an existing, business at the time underneath this franchise, that although they had, let's just say, 250 clients, of those
Mhm.
250, only 50 of them were active, which would have
Mm.
changed whether or not she would have bought into
But
that
that's
one
so
or even just
unfortunate.
started. It is.
That's unfortunate because what she did was she bought from an existing franchise owner and they should have disclosed that information. And that's very unfortunate that they didn't do that.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then the
Because
franchise. Yeah, go ahead.
she wouldn't have gotten that from the actual franchise
Right.
itself. She should have got all of that information because they can't tell they're not going to tell anybody how many clients I have and all of that. Like they should have showed your mom the books to show the active clients, the active care, I'm saying from my
Right.
business, active clients, active caregivers, the financials from the past 5 to 10 years, that they should have been very transparent. So I hate
Yeah.
that they didn't do that.
Yeah, it was definitely wasn't transparent. And then as the franchise was growing, they felt like they were going to be needing, they were changing their system. So now it was like, well, now I need you to acquire this new equipment. And she was like, well, do I have an option to opt out? Is this something that like I can do over time? They were like, nope, you need to do it now. Then come to find out, there were plenty of franchises that opted out of that. So then when she was ready to
Mm,
fold, because at this point in time, royalties were becoming more than
absolutely.
what she was actually bringing in. And then when she was attempting to do something different for client acquisition, there were all these different rules and regulations and stuff she could not do. So she's contacting them like, hey, are you guys going to help me with this? What are exactly you're going to do? And they're like, no, you're on your own, but you can always sell if you want to. Well, now she's got a whole bunch of equipment that she can't sell because no one has bought into the next phase. So now
I
she's
hate
sitting
that
here
so
with all of
much.
that as well. So yeah, I'm glad that you were able to get more information before jumping in, because that's definitely crucial on something that's already established. This is not like
Absolutely.
you coming up with the ins, the outs, your own how you want to do this, how you want to do that. You know what I mean? You're already coming into something that is established and now just starting your own specific location. So I'm glad that you were able to get that, because I feel like that will definitely make sure that your success is more attainable
Yeah.
than trying to flounder around. So I'm glad that that happened.
Yeah, and I definitely recommend, just for anybody out there that is looking into purchasing a franchise, if you are buying from an existing owner, still go through the process with the franchise as far as their training, their rules and regulations. We all have different things. Not everybody, we all went through the same training, but not every location or territory does the same things. They may have, some of us, majority of us have we all have the same operating system as far as what we use for clocking in and out, notes and all of those different things. But as far as getting leads and marketing and all of these different things that we do within our territory, I can do what I feel is best for my territory. So
Mhm.
definitely take the time to go through the training, ask as many questions as possible. Do not feel pressured, because at one point I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll think about it for a month or so. But God was giving me the go. But don't feel pressured as if you don't say yes right away, that they're just going to take that opportunity from you. They're always looking for people to become franchisees. So they can give you the, oh, well, this is the only opportunity, and that's not the case. So make sure that you do your due diligence of researching, of understanding the process, and just do not sign on the dotted line just because it's an opportunity. Be God led, definitely, and make sure that you do all of the research that you need before you sign.
Absolutely. The research is very key. And I think that's where a lot of people may end up failing, is that they are just excited about the opportunity. They're looking at the end and what's going to happen at the end, or 2 years down the road when they can
Yeah.
make all this money and do all these things. But if you haven't done that part first, then you don't see the fine print. You don't see those questionable things that will make you raise an eyebrow and pause and say, wait a minute, let me check into this right here first. And then you end up getting yourselves in something that's going to be a lot harder and a lot more difficult than it should be, than it had to be. So it's really
Absolutely.
to do the research. And that's with anything. You know, I tell people when they're looking for a surgical tech program, you need to first see if it's accredited. Check their pass rate, check their graduation rate. You know, check the reputation of the school or the institution before you go and pay your money, because you
Absolutely.
got to be paying your money, and it's once you're in, it's difficult for you to get out because there's so much red tape. And it's the same way, you sign on this dotted line and you find out, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be, and
Yeah.
now you got to get a lawyer and go through all of this stuff to try to get out of it, and then you
Absolutely.
save yourself some trouble there. So the business is located where?
It's in McDonough, Georgia, so it's located in Henry County. So we serve all of Henry County, Ellenwood, Rex, and Conley as well. So that's our territory. I can't dip into my colleagues' territory. So there's 4 other home watch caregivers kind of up north Atlanta. So I can't dip into their territories. I can go further south if I wanted to, because no one has that territory as of right now. But
Okay.
if someone took over that territory, then I wouldn't be able to.
Wow. And so how you've been in business, when has it been a year, 2
It's
years?
been a year.
So you just celebrated a year. It seems like I just saw something
Yes,
maybe a month
August
or
the
2 ago.
1st.
Okay. All
Oh,
right. So yeah,
congratulations.
Thank
everybody's
you.
saying congratulations on here. I just haven't had a
Thank you
chance to
so
tell people to
much.
say that.
It does.
So how was your first year? How was the
Tough. It's tough,
Mhm.
and God always allows me to give the not so good of a testimony to the good testimony. Like everything for him and in my life is a testimony. So I've shared the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the ins, the outs. It's definitely been a challenge. We are at a point right now of break even, meaning that all expenses are paid, you know, the employees are paid. And actually this month was the highest as far as money. We ended up getting a 24-hour case, which has helped, you know, tremendously in that regards. But then today, I just lost the client. You know, as of this week, this will be the last week. So it's always a up and down. And when I say lost a client, they didn't pass away; they just no longer need services. So you're always having to hire. You're always having to go out there and see who needs the services. I still haven't tapped into VA yet. It's great that I have my contract, but we don't have any referrals yet. So it's always a seesaw. We're going back and forth, up and down. It's definitely been a challenge, but God is faithful, and entrepreneurship is just that. Like it's not always going to be peaches and cream. And I knew that going in, but being in the thick of it, sometimes you get discouraged. Sometimes you're like, what did I get myself into? Or Lord, I need your help. My constant goal with this is, Lord, I know what you said concerning this business. I know that you gave me this business to steward. It is tough right now. There's been last week I had to go and fill in for a client twice.
Hmm.
Out of all of the people that I have on my staff, no one was available, and I had to have my mom come down from Macon, watch my kids. My husband had to cancel a gig one day because like I can't, if you have a 24-hour case, you can't leave that person alone. So if
Right.
anything happens, you just have to go. So it's been a lot of sacrifices, but I've received so many words concerning the business, and I believe it. I know that God's with us. I know that He's going to shine on the business. I know that it's going to expand and grow. And in this process, I'm just maintaining focus and just keeping the faith and continuing to encourage myself.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Raphael, for first, he said the first thing is that you must really want it. Talking about entrepreneurship, he said he tried to help his ex to open her own business and she didn't want it enough. Yeah, you have to have the desire and the drive to stick with it, because like you said, that first year was difficult. So
It's
if you
tough.
don't,
Even now, it's tough. So
yeah,
you gotta be centered. If you don't hear anything else that I've said tonight, you have to be centered in your faith, centered in your mind, centered in your focus, just centered in everything, because it's always going to be something. And if you
mhm,
don't have you together, everything
right,
else is gonna crumble.
Yeah.
right,
And the crazy thing is, when it comes to you owning that business, like Nobody's worried about what happens if,
Nope.
Mr. Microsoft ends up with a cold, but you end up with a cold. That can take out everything. Like you said,
Absolutely.
you have staff, but now your staff is completely unable to fill the need that you have. So what? The business is supposed to just fold for the
Right.
day until, or 2 days or a week, just because there's nobody that can be able to come? No. So you having to now pull and being able to now, folks, I don't think folks also realize, like you said, you had to go get somebody to watch your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Your husband had to sacrifice a gig
Yeah.
just to be able to do this. So the sacrifices that are made, all these other people that have to be pulled in and out or are affected by entrepreneurship and you having to be on your own, is something that needs to always be taken into account as well. And that's not to say that God won't provide, because he will. If he gave it to you just like he's giving you this, he's obviously going to provide a way for you to continue to get it done and be consistent.
Absolutely. And I always tell people, if he gives you the vision, he'll give you the provision. This is not something that I would have done. This is not a business that it was top of mind for me. So my obedience, I know that my obedience is going to unlock the door. I know that the sacrifices that I'm making right now, like my husband was saying, well, Erica, you need to pay yourself for those 2 shifts. There were 12-hour shifts. And I was like, I hear what you're saying and I appreciate that. I said, however, God is having me to sacrifice right now because I know next year I am going to be able to, pull money from the business. So, entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart at all. And I knew that going in, but it's just something about you being in the thick of it that just really changes your mindset about people and entrepreneurship. And I saw something on I think it was on Instagram where this dude was just he was going in about, people being entrepreneurs and not sticking with it, like just folding within the first year and all of that. So you really have to make your mind up that this is what you want to do and do everything that you have to do to make it successful. And that requires sacrifice. So with that, I'm saying be God driven and God led concerning
Mhm.
that business. So you have his stamp of approval and that he's going to lead you and guide you, because sometimes we do stuff and we don't have his stamp of approval, and then we
Right.
want to cry out to him when when things are in shambles. Well, I didn't tell you to do that.
Right.
So
Right.
that's key.
Right. I've been in situations like that. Like back in 2020, I jumped into a business that I thought it looked good and I thought it was going to go well. I saw others being successful in it. And I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. And then just the constant roadblocks that I came up upon the entire time. I'm like, you know what? Just constantly, like nothing but see, I didn't consult. I wasn't at that point in that time where I was like, okay, God, is this something you really want me to get into or not?
Mm-hmm.
Because he probably would have said, no, save your money. Don't do that. That's not what I have. And so then I just had to slowly start backing away from it. So now everything I do is like, okay, you want me to get involved in this? If he presents it to me and then he shows me that, okay, this is where I need you to be right now, then okay, I'm going to do that. If not,
Mm-hmm.
and I know he's made, like you said, if he wants you to do, he's going to make provision for it. So I know that he's opened this opportunity. So now I'm going to go through it. But I got to make sure I vet these things. Okay, is this what I need to
Mm-hmm.
be doing? Because
Yeah.
I don't want to stress myself out. It's enough going on than
Yeah.
to add that on. And now you have to, and your people aren't acting right and you can't get anybody to work. Now the boss got to come in and she
Yeah.
has to do it. And then your family has to go on the back burner for a little bit. How difficult now when you got this franchise, this particular location, were there already employees or did you have to hire? Oh, you had to.
Everything from the ground up.
Wow.
Literally. And I was so scared to open because I felt like I just didn't have enough training, but that's been my journey for every aspect of my life. When I graduated with undergrad and I started working with AT&T, I went through a 6-month program and they placed me in the store as a store manager, and I was so fearful. Like, Lord, I know you gave me this, but am I equipped? Like, I just felt like I couldn't do it. And then, I went through a few months of figuring everything out, and then after that I could run the store in my sleep. So it was the same thing as this. Because we invested such a large amount into the business, my thing is it cannot fail. It can't. So I have to do everything that I can to make sure that it is successful. And it was scary, but now I run it and it runs well. Of course, like I said, there's ups and downs, clients, caregivers, all of those different things. But I've tackled and mastered the operations of successfully running a home care business.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And so how have your clients been? How has that been for you?
It's been pretty good, actually.
Mhm.
All of our reviews so far have been great reviews on Google. I had a couple of instances where I actually just had I put this on Facebook. I had my first client say that they wanted to switch to another caregiver. That client is no longer with us. It was an interesting case. So I'm not no sleep lost, as far as that. I think that was kind of
Yeah.
God saying, not this person.
Right.
Um, my challenge has definitely been staff. That's been one of the major challenges, is having dedicated people, having committed people, accountable people, all of that. So that's been a challenge. So we're working through some of those things, but it's been pretty good. I was so scared when I went to my first consultation with a client and trying to make sure I was doing everything good. And I mean, it's just amazing to see how far we've come as it
Mm-hmm.
relates to that. But we get calls, simply for the fact someone recommended us and gave our information to somebody. So it's really rewarding to put the right care professional in a home with a senior that really needs our services.
Yeah. So
Okay,
that,
great. I was actually going to ask what kind of home care, but so you do senior. Is this something that's residential, or is
Yes.
this that?
Hmm.
Okay, you guys are
So
going to residents, or do you
yes.
have a facility?
No, we do not have a facility, so it's
Okay,
strictly in the home. We primarily serve the seniors. We can serve other people. Say, for instance, they just had surgery, or postpartum care, things of that nature. We don't serve kids, so we're not like a babysitting
right.
agency. But our target audience is primarily the seniors. So we send out our CNAs and into the home, and they care for them with all personal care needs. So all activities of daily living. We don't do anything medical, so no wound care, IVs, medication. We do like medication reminders, bathing, grooming, dressing, things like that.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
serving the community. So do you
yes.
have anything else that you plan on doing, or are you just gonna focus solely on that? Because that sometimes when people get into business, it just excites them and sparks them, and then they may want to expand or they may want to add something else into it. So have you thought about anything else?
Yes, I definitely want to expand. I want to get this one big enough and then grow into another territories. And then I also want to look into, and I have the training and everything, but I've just been so focused on this. But I want to also dig into Airbnb. So I want to
Mm,
look into that as well.
Awesome.
awesome. Okay, all right. So Raphael says he owned his own security company at one time, and when he didn't get the right contracts after 4.5 years, he shut down and stuck to his entertainment career. Okay.
Very interesting. I'll tell you this though. I've seen. I have some friends who have folded multiple times in
Mm,
businesses because you don't always get it right the first time.
Absolutely.
But one thing, and I think I might have shared this in another, one of our episodes, but it got to a place where he was like, "Do I have a plan B?" And
mhm,
Mhm.
when it got to the point where he had no plan B, it was like, okay, fine. This one didn't work this time. I'll fold it. I'll resurrect it as a completely different name. What I did do in this one, I won't do in this one, or took the
Mhm.
things that did work, you know what I mean, from this one, and he applied it now to the next try. And so now I can say, I mean, over 13 years, yeah, he started like 4 times, but this time has now stuck. And now he's gotten to a place where he can secure these, 6-figure contracts. So
Yeah.
just because I was like 4.5 years, like that's a very long time. You know what I mean? I am close to hitting about the 5-year mark on mine, but I know that like it's going to probably take about 7 years before you really get into like a mojo. And I'm just
Yeah.
getting to a place now where I don't have to do the client acquisition that I used to. Like you were saying, you're starting to get referrals and all of these kind of things. So part of entrepreneurship is also kind of sticking with it, even when it looks like, oh, these are really small contracts, or I'm looking for something that's bigger. Like, never take anything that you feel like is not beneath you, or this is not something that God is giving you at all, because that's how you end up
Absolutely.
really like flopping. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Sometimes you do have to take multiples. And even if it's like 15 of the smallest ones, when you're like, well, I could do this one job and then I could have the same amount of money, you never know what you're going to learn in those 15 jobs that will have you then ready when that one big one comes about. Because when he was saying, when that first big one came along, he was super, super excited about it. But he was like, I fumbled through it. He goes, I can't lie. It was not the easiest, although I have decades of experience.
Yeah.
It still was like, oh, okay. So now that also got him to a place where he realized he wasn't quite ready for that, but he knows that he could do it. And so now, what is it that I need to get in order to be ready for that? And that's unfortunate, but a lot of us, when we get to that place, a lot of it has to do with staffing. You know,
Yeah.
I know that there are things right now that I would love to do, but because I don't have the staff, I can't. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
so I'm like, okay, Lord, I know that this is for me, because you wouldn't have put it in my lap. You wouldn't have shown me
Mm-hmm.
that this is a possibility. And these people wouldn't be really asking me right now to do it if this wasn't something for me to do. So now the prayer is different.
Mhm.
Show me who's supposed to be in this circle. Show me
Yes.
the right kind of help. Send me the right kind of people so that I can
Yeah.
fulfill what you're asking me to do.
Right.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I would tell him is, for me, I have been so lucky and so thankful to have a mentor. So they
Mhm.
paired me with the lady that's like one of the top sellers for the franchise to help me to ramp up to where I need to be. There is nothing new under the sun. There is no business out here that's brand new. It's just not.
Wow.
So if you find someone that's willing to pour into you, show you the rope, show you how it's done, then that could help as well. So if God gave you the vision for that business, I would say, yeah, you may have put it down for a little while, but resurrection is on the horizon, and it's just about how committed you are to the vision that God gave you. Get you a mentor and work the vision. It's going to be hard. I don't know when I'm going to get to a point where I just feel like we've arrived at a healthy place before we, continue to grow. I don't know when that place is. Every time I think we're getting there, then we lose a client or something happens. So just keep working at it. But I would definitely recommend that you find a mentor, explain to them all of the things that you did initially, and help them to rebuild, allow them to help you rebuild your business.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Dr. McCrae has given us some good information here, some practical tips to use for those entrepreneurs, because it's not easy and you just have to stick with it. If you want it and you know that it's for you, then you just have to stick with it. And like I like what you say about reinventing, just come back with a different name or a different way of doing it, because you don't do it right. Like my consulting business, our first contract that I got, I just like, oh, okay, let me do this, let me do this. It was my first contract. So I didn't know. So now I know, okay, this is what I need to implement. I need to do charge this for this. I need to think about this piece and add that into the contract, because you don't think about all of that from the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's a learning process. You're learning as you're going, but I'm not going to stop, because this is not that's not an option. I have to keep going because I have to grow, it has to grow, it has to
Mhm.
flourish. So I'm learning. And then I love what you said about getting a mentor. And that's with anything, with
Mhm.
any field that you want to go into, get a mentor. when you start teaching at colleges as a professor, they are supposed to have a mentor for you to show you how the policies and procedures of that institution, how they construct their syllabi, how the format for the students, all of that stuff. So if they have it for professors, then why not have it for entrepreneurs? Why not? You need
Absolutely.
you need that help. And I personally, I don't want to do it by myself, because if you've done it and you've been successful at it, then teach me, show me the ropes so I can possibly avoid the pitfalls that you fell in. That's one thing. Some people don't do that. They don't want to share that. They don't want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, I
Yes.
went through it the hard way, so I'm gonna let you figure that out. No, don't do it like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't do
Exactly.
But
if
for me, I'm like, what do you get out of that? You know what I mean?
exactly
It's
Because
sad.
it,
Crab in the bucket mentality.
right.
exactly, and it's because it's not like, I mean, yes, I'll figure it out, but
Hmm.
why would you want to see someone else unnecessarily struggle?
Right.
You know,
Because they want to see you doing good, just not better than them. And that's really sad as a society
Mhm.
that we think that
yes.
way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I mean, I'm definitely the type that even if I have been doing something for a really long time and there's someone who is just coming in, but they have learned something that I, for whatever reason, still haven't come across in 10 years, please do tell me. Because
Right.
Yeah.
then one less thing, you know what I mean? Like you can't count anybody out for
Yeah.
information. And just because you might have been there and you've been doing this doesn't mean that the person that you are helping might not have insight on what's going on. Because like you said, this is
Exactly.
not your normal realm of
No.
operating. Like you don't, it's not like you're coming from a corporate job where you were doing this.
Yeah.
So, but you have fresh eyes.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
these
And
fresh
you're
eyes
right.
coming from a completely different perspective can bring so much more, and is what honestly is going to make your franchise even different than others. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Who cares?
Absolutely.
It's the same name and the same operating, system and the same, rules and whatnot. It's still you and what you're bringing to the table that is going to, make people want to come to this one versus the one that's maybe even a little closer.
Mm.
Absolutely. And the Bible talks about us helping each other. That's what I don't
Mhm.
understand. I have a friend that came to my ribbon cutting, sold into my business a seed because she was waiting on her license to be approved for the same thing that I'm doing in the same county, and we talk all of the time, and I told her, I said, the thing for me is I've invested the large amount that I did because I wanted the backing of the franchise
Mm.
sports, because I had no idea of how to start this, so I needed that support. And my thing for her is, whatever you need, come to my office, let's sit down, let's talk about it. I don't care that you're doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, nor do I care that I'm sharing what I have with you. Why wouldn't I
Right.
want to help you? There's
Right.
enough clients out there for everybody. We
Right.
all will go through what we go through. What clients God has for me, He has for me. What
Yes.
clients He has for you, He has for you. So why
Yes.
would I not share that with you?
Right.
Absolutely.
There
Yeah.
is enough room for everybody to be as successful as they desire, still
Absolutely.
doing the same business.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can do the same business. You have in Burger King and McDonald's, they're both fast food restaurants, they're chains, they're still making good money. They may have different types of food that they're serving, but that's their own unique thing, but they're still making money. They're
Yeah.
still
Hmm.
doing that. So if I buy one McDonald's place and you have another one, they'll will help me. I want you to help me. Or if
Hmm.
Yes.
it's me that's still doing well and you're just getting started, here, let me show you how we do this. Think about this, and this is how I do it. Just like you said, I don't like that crabs in a barrel mentality.
Hmm.
That angers me so much. Like, why? When there's enough money for all of us to make.
But you also have to think
Absolutely.
about the barrel is not where a crab is originally from.
Mm.
So when you take a crab out of its environment and put it into something different, you can't expect it to act the same as it would out in the ocean.
Wow.
So you have to watch what your environment is. And if nothing
Yeah.
else, I can say we don't need to be in the barrel with the crabs. be on the outside.
Yeah.
Trying to tell
I
the
want to
crabs
be
from
up
the
with the
outside how to
eagles.
get back out. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be with the eagles. I want to be soaring high. That's
exactly,
what
yeah. The crabs in
Absolutely.
the barrel,
I
you
would
lose
be.
claws, you lose legs, and everything
Yeah.
else. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to lose no limbs over this.
I am good. I'm good. So, as a final word, Dr. McCray, what would you like? Anything else that you want to share on any level with the viewers today?
I always, on every platform, I just have to give God the glory for everything that He's done, because all of the things that people see me doing, it would not be possible without Him. So, if anything, your relationship with God is the most important thing. Everything else is secondary. He's the provider. I literally made the post that your employer is not your provider on a Tuesday. And then 3 days later, that's when I got the notification about my corporate job. And I was like, okay. So God is going to be God no matter what. Your relationship with Him and your obedience and faithfulness to Him is of the utmost importance. If you focus on that, everything else is going to fall in place. When you don't feel like you can go anymore, He's going to be your strength when you're weak. When you don't feel as though, things aren't going the way it's meant to go, He's going to show you the vision that He has set forth. So in all things, your relationship with God is the most important thing. Focus on that. Get a system together where you are spending that time with Him. It's when I stray away from that and life gets too busy that my life feels like it's in shambles and I have to get back to that place. So focus on your relationship with God. He will give you the vision. He will put those things in your heart that He wants you to do. And when He gives you the vision, He'll give you the provision.
Wow. That sounds
I
like something
like that. I
just
like
talking
that.
about this morning in our group, in the Intentional You group from this morning. I'm like, wait a minute. Was she in that group this morning? Well, that's just confirmation all
Absolutely.
around. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to be on. You have given us a lot of good information. I am so happy for you and everything that
Thank
has taken
you.
place in your life, not only on a personal level, but on the spiritual level as well, because I know God is taking you places in ministry. And I'm not going to go this route. I usually try to shy away from it, but God is going to do some great things with you in ministry, not only in your business life, but He's taking you to new heights in Him ministry wise. So when
Amen.
those opportunities and when that comes up, do not let it shock you. You probably already have signs that He's pushing you in that direction as well. But what He's doing is what He's giving you is going to help with the business. It's going to put that extra piece on there that's going to draw more clients to your company, to your business, to
Amen.
your franchise. So I'm excited for what I see happening for you in the business and your family and your husband. God bless both all of y'all. I'm just happy
Thank
for you
you.
going on
Thank
in
you.
your
Yes,
life.
yes, yes.
Yes, absolutely. All right, y'all. We have been on here. The time goes by so fast when you're
It
just
It
did.
does.
time and good discussion. And we want to thank Dr. McCray for coming on and spending time with us and telling us about all the wonderful things that's taking place in her life. And we pray that these last two classes and your masters that you're
Thank
taking
you.
just smooth on by and you
Yes.
are done.
Woo.
Ooh,
Thank you. Thank you.
my hat's off to you. I know I just don't, I have people ask me, well, why didn't you go back to school and become a doctor? Like, no, no, I'm good. So one of the surgeons I work with in South Dakota, he was like, April, I've had people in my class that were in their 40s. Like, yeah, great. It won't be me. I'm good. So hats off to you what you're learning and how God is doing and moving in your life. We thank you so much. So
has been a pleasure. Thank you, ladies.
yes, absolutely. So next week we will be back on here. We want you to share this out. Share it out. If you have female women entrepreneurs that have not been interviewed with us, then you need to let them get in inbox me, inbox Morgan, so we can get them on the calendar. We don't want them to miss out and have to go way into 2024 because we fill up really quickly with having guests. And we have some great guests that are coming on. They teach us a whole lot of stuff, right? So
absolutely.
I'm excited about that. Morgan?
Yes,
Morgan, why do you always just let me just do all the talking and you just sit there and smile all pretty?
Sometimes you capture it all.
You know what? I'm gonna start being quiet and say, okay, Morgan, I'm gonna let you close us out. I'm gonna sit right here.
Oh no, but you do such a great, like, what do we call it, benediction.
And let everybody stand as we pray.
Turn to your neighbor and say,
right. Grab your neighbor by the hand as we go before the Lord.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So we are going to head out here for this evening. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing this out. Thank you for supporting. We will see you on next Tuesday at the same time, same platform. We already got everything all together, so we can't wait to see you then. So until then, have a phenomenal, amazing ending to your week and an even greater weekend. And we will see you on Tuesday.
Yes, see you Tuesday. Thanks again, Dr. Erica.
You're
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, one more do say. Coming up. Yeah. Come on.